Have you ever wondered how video game original soundtracks get made and what the process of creating music for video games looks like? Well, today I'm going to show you what's behind the scenes and walk you through how I created the first level theme for Turbo Shell, a game I worked on released in 2023 by Radioactive Dreams. Welcome, I'm Pete Frogs. I write music that helps indie games resonate emotionally with players, and this is how I wrote the track Space Crash for Turbo Shell. I was approached by the devs at Radioactive Dreams in 2022 about writing music for their upcoming game. They were looking for a composer to write a synthwave soundtrack for it. Luckily for me, synthwave is a genre that I had experienced writing beforehand, so I felt pretty confident getting into this project. The devs wanted the OST to achieve a nice balance of adding energy to the platforming action of the game while not being overly attention-grabbing or irritating on repeat listens, so players would stay in the flow state no matter how many attempts it took them to get through this very challenging precision platforming game. While the rest of the OST was quite energetic and upbeat, we agreed that it'd be best to use a slower, more laid-back track for the first level, to give time to players to get in the mood and acclimatize to the game mechanics before the real challenge began. Because of that, the first level music ended up being the slowest track on the OST, clocking in at 115 BPM. The general process of creating music and communicating with the devs was the same for all the tracks. First, we would talk about the vibe and emotions the devs wanted to convey in each level, and exchange reference tracks back and forth to make sure we were on the same page. I would then create a short demo track, about 30 seconds long, and send it to the devs for feedback. If the devs confirmed that I was going in the right direction, I would finish the track and send it over once again. The devs would then test it in-game and come back to me with any revisions they wanted made to the track. From there, it was just a matter of making those changes and mixing and mastering the tracks to get them ready for release. Let's take a look at the first demo I sent for this track. It's a very simple musical idea built around three main elements: a synth arpeggio, a drum groove, and a rolling bass line. There isn't much contrast or drama because the goal here was to immerse the player in an environment, the space station at the start of the game. To add to the feeling of easing in, I decided to give the track a short intro, starting with just the synth arpeggio, with the filter gradually opening until the rest of the elements come in 8 bars later. In true synthwave fashion, the track is a mixture of vintage 80s-inspired sounds with modern production techniques. I used synth plugins emulated from hardware synthesizers, such as Diva, Teleumno, and Omnisphere, along with drum machine samples to get that warm, nostalgic 80s sound. Then I used a healthy amount of volume shaping to duck all the melodic elements when the kick and snare are hitting, which creates a pumping sound and helps everything sound clean and punchy. The devs were happy with the first demo I sent and suggested going in more of an uplifting direction for the next section of the track, which I thought was a great idea and was pretty much what I had in mind anyway. I then went ahead and wrote the rest of the track, which brought it to about 1 minute and 30 seconds. To make things more uplifting in the second half, I added a big synth melody and switched the bass line to create a different chord progression. The track then loops back to the first section, skipping the intro, and an echo of the synth lead from section B can be heard on top of section A to make the loop point sound smoother. From there was a bit of a back and forth between me and the devs about revisions to make to the track, notably the intro. In the end, I added a filtered version of the section B synth lead to the short intro, so it didn't sound as sparse. And that leaves mixing and mastering the track. This step was completed at the very end of the project, after I had written all of the tracks for the game. For this particular track, I thought the melodic elements, and especially the synth stabs, could use a bit more brightness, and that the drums were a bit overpowering. Here's a level-matched comparison of the track before and after the mixing and mastering process. So there you have it, the process of creating a piece of music for a video game from start to finish. My main takeaway from this experience is communication is key. I was very fortunate to work with devs who knew what they wanted and were honest, clear, and encouraging in their communication. That made it a lot easier for me to do my job and made the whole experience a lot more enjoyable.
Thank you for watching this short game audio breakdown. Turbo Shell is available to play on Steam and Nintendo Switch. If you'd like to learn more about my work as a game composer, head over to my website, www.petefrogs.com. I'll catch you in the next one.